Happy Friday in July, post 4th of July. Whenever I come at all of you from our studio here in National City, Futures Past, big shout out to them, and a big shout out to my videographer at Alberto Visuals on Instagram. I'm always grateful and honored for a variety of reasons. I'm grateful that I woke up and that I get to live in San Diego. My backyard is literally my backyard where people pay a shit ton of money to visit. And I have the opportunity to interview individuals, whether they're in the real estate industry, because obviously the name of this is under contract, and that's in the literal sense. Whether they're in the real estate industry or they've done something in life that I am, intrigued by, or I've got mad respect for. I'm always excited because it's a clean slate and we have an opportunity to learn. So today, I have a very, very intriguing individual that I respect, have always respected from, 3 years ago when I first met him. He's got a cool kind of couple of hats that he wears. He's an appraiser, number one, and he's a real estate agent. And he is a master of what it means to live life in bliss. For all intent and purposes.
No pressure on me.
Sidney is here today. And I always want to pronounce your last name in a French way. Is it French in orientation?
It is, absolutely.
Pronounce it for me.
Loiseau.
Oh, see, I would have butchered that shit. I would have said, Loiseau. Yeah.
I know, but then I make people say it 4 or 5 times after that. And then I have you know?
And it's the grammatically correct way, right? And the enunciation. So welcome. Oh my gosh. Like we tried to do this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Life as it is always prevents us from doing certain things, but I always look at that as like, okay, whatever, it wasn't meant to be at that moment.
It's blessings,
right?
We're busy for a reason.
Oh,
so
God, tell me about it. So I am thrilled because I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about real estate with you because you see it from a different set of lenses, right? The appraisal side.
Yeah.
And you see it from the real estate side. So you really have such an edge over so much that the average realtor, like myself, doesn't have. So given what we've been through, given what you've witnessed pre-pandemic, what do you feel is fucking really going on? What is going on? What is happening with appraisals? Because that's the fucking deal breaker. Although with a lot of the transactions right now, if they're coming in fully 100% non-contingent, then it's a non-issue. So, but talk to me a little bit about...
But they still want to know what it is,
right?
Fuck
you. I want to know the value.
It's like, here, I think everyone, I've seen it before. I've been appraising for, it's my 18th year.
Yeah.
So I've seen it in like the 06, 05, 07 market where everyone feels like they're missing out, it's like fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So, it's like people are willing to give up their first child for a house.
Okay, hi.
And
literally, like some of that shit's built into the contract too. Like
it is.
I'll give you taco truck or something.
I swear.
Silly. Yeah.
I've heard that agents have sent dinners and pizzas and
for sure.
all sorts of stuff just for their offers to get accepted. And I think that's great, right? Because look, I'm not going to lie. My business is thriving. I'm bombed. I'm swamped. And
let's
that's
give a plug.
Thing.
Name of your business.
Oh, South Shore Appraisals for everyone out there in the San Diego, LA, Orange County markets. You probably know who I am.
And he's amazing, you guys. Yes.
Well, I can't say just me. I have an awesome team.
But no. You're like legit, like off a tangent here real quick. So I had a listing that was coming soon. I don't know, a couple months ago. And I had a conversation with my sellers. I go, you know what, you guys, with this market being nutty. Oh, yeah. We need to do a pre-listing appraisal.
I appreciate that.
And Sidney pulled through, like literally delivered in about, I think turnaround was 4 or 5 days. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I think you're so wise to do that because it's why find out there's a problem in the 9th inning? Like you're about to, the 17 days are over and you're like, oh, hold on, the appraisal's not going to come in and then you have to scramble. So I offer the pre-list appraisals to agents because it's just like, look, if it's a tract development and there's plenty of comps, great. But if you have that special property like your homeowners did,
yes.
It was pretty dialed in, then you want to know how to maximize that value. So if you're wise on it, it's it's $500.
Doesn't matter. It pales in comparison.
It's going to save you thousands later.
Dude,
right?
I don't know why more agents don't think like that. And that along that line, it's like pre-listing home inspection. Hello. Okay, hi.
Avoid the issues. You can go to Home Depot and fix half the things.
Dude, what is wrong with it? Anyway, that was tangent A and B. Okay, so he's been in the business forever. So let's talk about the market. Like, yeah, you're right. Appraisals are either going to make it or not.
It is, but it's so funny. I have a friend of mine. He's a loan officer, and we had a Zoom conversation with a bunch of his clients, and what he said was so interesting was like, guys, stop telling your clients the appraisal came under value. He was like, there's no such thing. The appraisal always comes in value. It just came under whatever contract or whatever child you want to give up, for that deal.
Yep.
So I think what people need to understand is, first of all, you got to know my guidelines, right?
Yeah.
You got to know appraisal guidelines. At the end of the day, it has to cross through us. We're like the golden gates, right?
Yes,
If it's going through finance,
yes.
if you're paying cash, well, I won't even say that because I have people are paying $3 million, $5 million cash on homes, and they're still calling me to see if they're getting a deal or not. So people want to know, like, am I winning? Am I beating this person, or are they taking it? They're getting something over on me. So I think it's super important that.
Still trying to work a deal at that level.
I'm telling you.
I mean, okay.
It's bananas. So yeah, I mean, the market is bananas. Mm-hmm. And you know what? A tip that I would give agents out there is the number one thing to pay attention to is the market growth per month, per neighborhood, per district, per subdivision.
Give us an example of that.
Perfect example. So let's say you're in, 92116, right? Now 92116 covers 3 different markets. It's University Heights, Normal Heights, Kensington. Okay, well, if you're looking at market growth, if you have a property in Kensington or a property in University Heights, let's say, and you're saying, well, the market grew, 12% this past year. Well, that's just a 92116. Those numbers could be different in University Heights specific, Normal Heights specific, or Kensington. So
collectively, yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Same with like a 92103 zip code. Mm-hmm. Well, are you in Mission Hills? Are you in Hillcrest? Are you Bankers Hill?
Because there's such a fine line between the community lines. Yeah, the zip code lines. Yeah.
So I would say pay attention to market growth. That's going to help you, I would say, support your listing.
Yes.
I have to be very close with how I choose my words, but yes.
So let's talk. That brings me to another point that I constantly, and you can probably attest to this. Certain zip codes are highly sought after. Obviously, anywhere in the world, country, they're highly sought after. Hence, why listing prices, asking prices are a lot higher and continually go for much higher under contract. Let's say someone, and I had this happen yesterday, I have a buyer who is looking all over San Diego, Alpine, Fallbrook, let's throw in Mission Hills, let's throw in Linda Vista, let's throw in
they're
Bayho.
looking everywhere.
Okay.
Have fun with that.
Right. So the challenge then becomes, okay, Mr. Buyer, you're looking in some pretty highly sought after zip codes, which is going to dictate the price. Rancho Santa Fe.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So without fail, Rancho Santa Fe is going to be X million dollars.
Yeah.
Without fail. Del Mar, Solana Beach, Cardiff, all of that.
Oh, yeah, all the local beach communities.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you have, let's look in Claremont Mesa. That's still a highly sought after zip code. Okay. Back to your point, because some of it borders Bayho, some of it, that Bay Park, that whole little pocket, because you've got the ocean view up higher, and then it borders Mission Hills. So where is the reasoning for a buyer's agent to help educate that buyer in terms of, okay, we need to come in a little higher in this zip code because it's just the way it is versus El Cajon?
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I think it depends on the person, right? I think if you have, the toys, the motorhome, you want to be, traditionally El Cajon and those East County places, traditionally those are where people they want the land, they want the space, right? So what do you tell a buyer who's looking in these markets? I think it's super tough because I would say on traditionally, yes, all these areas, would request a higher dollar amount, but everywhere now is bananas. I don't care if you're in Encanto,
for sure.
San Isidro, like everywhere is going 50 grand over, 100 grand over. So it's just, it's really literally like the wild, wild west right now.
Crazy.
Like, I don't know where you're going to get your property accepted. I think that you have to figure out if you can follow a trend and say, okay, a buyer in Claremont Mesa, the market growth in the past 24 months has, done this trend. No one has a crystal ball. I certainly don't, but as long as you can afford that payment,
that's all that matters.
I say go for it, right? Because real estate it's always, I think I don't believe in a bubble. I think people create their own micro bubble when they over leverage themselves. And then you have to then sell, and then there goes your bubble just pop. My bubble's still blowing nicely, right?
Hi. Okay.
So
yes.
I think everyone has to pay attention to their own bubble.
Right.
Like, yes, real estate is great to own it, but if you over leverage yourself and you know that, like where that marker is, then you can kind of create your own bubble. That's kind of my look on that.
I love that because, a lot of times when we reference we're in a bubble, a lot of people seem freaked out and they're like, oh my God, this bubble, blah, blah, blah. But there is truly something super positive in being that bubble, right? There's a lot that you can do in that bubble. Pay attention to your bubble. That's a hashtag. Pay attention to your bubble, right?
You heard it here first.
Right. So, okay, you have probably seen in all of the years you've been doing appraisal work, but now again in this last year, fast forward to now. Give me like a really crazy story. Like, give me an example without being too detail oriented, because you got to tread lightly. But like, whether it was appraisal related or if it was real estate related in terms of being on the real estate side, you being the whoever you represented. Give me kind of like a crazy, funny story that you just go, dude, it never ceases to fucking amaze me. Like, shit's just crazy right now.
Okay. Jeez. So
protecting the privacy.
I know that's what my mind is spinning. Like, how do I not upset someone that's going to be listening to this show?
It's all good because there's many different reasons.
I've recently have been offered like tickets to a sporting event.
Let's see where this is going.
To avoid, like, basically I show up to this house, right? The front of it looks amazing, but the back of the home is like missing. Right.
Oh, wait, back up. It's missing?
It's missing. Like, it's like, let's say like you just pulled the wall off because it's
open space, open to the elements.
Exactly. I mean, it was a new way of like open concept living, and so they were like, well, is it possible that you can like just like not see that and I can like send you a photo of what it was? And I was like, well, like, I mean, I see it, and I have to like show I have to report that.
The white elephant in the room. Hello.
You know what the interesting thing is lenders want you to go down for, like, basically they'll ask you, hey, is it cool if you appraise that, but then not say this is going on? I'm like, well, can you do the loan and then just not say that's going on? Like, I'll just do my report and then you just kind of omit that part.
Yeah.
It's like everyone wants to pass the buck to someone else, and I've seen it all.
So somebody tried to give you tickets.
Oh yeah.
Just to kind of, hey, by the way.
Oh, it's not the first time.
I do. I don't even know. See that? Okay, that's a totally another conversation, because I know when I'm to meet the appraiser.
Yeah.
I do my best just to provide them with educational information. Yeah. Like, for example, here are some comps I pulled, and here is a list of all of the upgrades pertaining to this home. Yeah. Here you go, Mr. Appraiser, and I stay out of their way.
What happened to Mrs. Appraiser?
I haven't had a Mrs. yet.
Really?
Yeah, I've had all. Oh, wait, back up.
There's a few out there.
Hold on. Wait, I did have one. Years ago. I did have one.
I'm just messing with you.
No, dude,
I'm keeping it 2021.
Listen, we have to, he, she, her, they, whatever, right?
I think
we have
they,
to.
yeah.
It is they now.
It is.
And I said, here's just, the comps that I pulled, blah, blah, blah. And it clearly substantiated my listing price and the contract price as well. And I have never even thought once to try to persuade. So I'm trying to figure out the mindset. You
gotta bring me tickets, Tammy.
Dude, I don't need to, because that shit will come back and bite me in the ass. Karma's a bitch.
It is.
It is a bitch, because then you're like, whoa, I probably shouldn't have done, because my conscience weighs heavily on me when I don't do things of honor.
Yeah.
Right? And if I step outside of my code of honor, then my body takes on this weird sensation, because I'm really...
You're so mystical. I love it.
I'm super sensitive to fucking energy.
I love it.
Okay? And as I cuss early in the morning. But my point is...
It's healthy, actually. I read this article
swearing?
that cursing in the morning actually increases, like... No, I'm just kidding. I'm full of shit, too. So
I am, too. But my point is, like, I would never think to say... by the way, you see that area where there's like a lot of water damage and there was a flood that took place years ago. We've disclosed it. But that big thing there, can you see? And it's molding. Can you just act like you don't see that? I would never say that. Why? Because it's going to like, then I know I'm setting myself up for what's going to happen because I stepped out of my code of honor.
Yeah.
So not that giving you tickets isn't honorable. That's a good gesture. But why would any agent try to persuade and influence the appraiser? Why?
Yeah, and I would have to say this was a borrower, it wasn't actually an agent. So for all you agents out there, you're safe.
Well, then there you go.
But it, it's like, I don't know. People do I guess desperate things and what they call desperate,
times.
I don't know what it is, but I was going to tell you something and I lost my point of thought on that, but I don't know.
Well, okay. So appraisals, you've seen some crazy shit. That's a good story. So we don't have a crystal ball, but now let's put the realtor cap on and the appraiser cap on. So real estate agents, we have had to adjust over the last year.
How so? How have you had to adjust?
Our business, right? Initially, we weren't essential. Remember that? And then we had to jump through the whole COVID CDC guidelines to tour and the PEDS and then this. So we all had to adjust from going into our offices, that's A, to working remotely, that's B.
Was that awesome for you?
I loved it.
Me too.
My business, I was busy pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Dude, when March hit last year, all the way up until probably April of this year, I was like, holy crap, is it going to slow down?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to slow down? I was hustling 3 to 5 a month.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Look at you.
Right?
That's awesome.
But my point is we had to adjust. And I know the things that I've done to help with my pivot and to help with my transitions and what I need to do to check in. I know of you to be a super... Like I said, you operate from a place of just transparency and authenticity and bliss and just pure like greatness, right? Wow. So what have you had to do to adjust the last year, right? What are some things that you did to pivot? How important were those transitions for you? And what do you do mentally to check in to keep your tribe, your bubble, the way it is? Because if you can't show up 1,000% for your clients, then why the F are we doing this? Because let me tell you something, I'll burn the candle.
Yeah.
And when I know I'm burning the candle, forget about how I feel and I'm like less than par. If I can't be 100% for my clients, then I'm doing them a disservice.
Absolutely.
So how do you, the things that you've pivoted, the importance of those transitions and where are you mentally to do what you need to do now?
I think the first thing I did, I think what the great thing about the pandemic was to bring me back to what we all say we don't have time to do, right? So for me, on a personal note, it was like surfing. Like I've put it off, and I don't have time.
You mean it wasn't drinking heavily?
No.
Dude, everybody became alcoholics or more of an alcoholic because, we don't have to go to work today. It's time to drink.
Yeah. But I mean, it might be fun for the first couple of days and then you're like, okay, then what? Right?
COVID, what is it? The freshman 15? It's the COVID 25.
The COVID 25. You're right. I think I got even more trimmed during COVID.
I did too.
I'm like,
because it's like, hold on a second.
This.
Right.
Yeah.
So surfing.
Yeah. Because it's like you said, I have to start the day. Like I'm an early riser. I'm up at 4:30, my stretches, and I'm in the water at 5:30. Like, it's beautiful.
How heavenly is that?
It is. The water's glass. I mean, the people who are there in the morning, you know everyone. It's just a good vibe, right? And that's a great way to start my day in the water. And what it's done is it kind of sets my mind. It's almost like doing yoga in the morning or a workout or a hike. It just sets the intention for the day. Like, when you see a dolphin in front of you, you're like, okay, you puts everything in perspective, right?
To be that close to such a marvel, right?
It is.
Think about that.
And you think how insignificant you really are in a body of water. You're like,
and how insignificant our problems are.
Oh my God.
Like if you being that close to such an amazing part of Mother Nature and the creation that God just bestowed upon us all.
Absolutely.
A dolphin in water, a body of water where anything else could be lurking down below.
Yep.
And you're just out there chilling, you're doing your meditation, you're doing your thing, right? Life is good.
Yeah.
If we put that in perspective and think about the shit that people think about, oh my God, I went to Prada and I can't decide on which bag to get. Oh my God, they have it and they have brown, they have it in black. I'm so torn. Bitch, really?
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's your only problem? it's so insignificant
First
when
world
you're
problems.
in the water next to a dolphin. You're going, wow, and we have this whole world out here.
Yeah.
My problems are nothing because this is what it's all about.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because in the wintertime, the sun and the moon, they're
Yes.
present at the same time.
Yes.
And you're like, God, I wonder what conversation those two ladies
Are having, ladies.
Of course.
I like
Mother Earth,
it.
why would the sun and the moon be men? That's
Girl,
crazy.
it could be worse, but
You know?
okay, yeah. So you do surfing, and that keeps you in check.
But you said something really interesting. You said meditation. And I think it's, for me, I don't look at it this way, but I think it is like an active meditation. Like when there's no waves, it's just nicely just sitting out there and you're having thoughts to yourself in clarity. And, you're having this, look, I mean, the earth itself is a magical place if you really think about it. And so I think you get that kind of energy. And for me, it becomes the more I do it, the more it becomes like, oh, it's a necessity. Or if I'm off, I'm like, what have I not done in the last, what? I need to get in the water.
Yeah.
So I've made that a point on a personal level. And then like what it's done, it's transitioned to like other things. Like, to me, I see that started my way of communicating to myself and then communicating to my team. So I have like a team of 5 and look at
you.
It is, I'm super blessed.
I mean, remember like 3 years ago when we were going through some course, right when we got our license we exchanged numbers, we're talking, I'm like, I'm with Big Black, all this stuff. That's back before, that was like years ago.
That was I call that BC, the new BC before COVID, right?
Yeah. And now you've got like, I just marveled. I mean, you've got a team of 5.
Yeah.
And I remember just having these conversations with you and we were all trying to hustle and get our groove.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And now you're grooving, like you're super, super groovy. You're doing what you need to do to keep, God, I just dated myself with that word, groovy.
I know you didn't.
Groovy?
Everything comes back and it becomes like, oh, it's vintage. Oh, it's so cool again.
The old is new. Groovy.
I love groovy.
No, groovy and like vibe.
Do you say that a lot?
I don't. I just said it.
I like it
like
though.
Groovy.
Yeah,
think about it. But you know what I like is vibe. Like my vibe is because think about the definition of vibe. Let's break it down.
Okay, go for it.
Energy. Mm-hmm. Either you're receptive or non-receptive to energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Take that one step further. If you think you're non-receptive to energy, then let's talk about how your body manifests shit.
That's still energy, though.
That's still energy. That's my point.
You're trying to reject what is a natural.
And your body's telling you.
Yeah.
So everybody's receptive. But there are people out there like, the energy stuff, blah, 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 whatever. I'm so non-receptive. Really? What kind of headaches have you had lately?
Yeah.
Okay?
I go far away from those people.
Dude, I am like a light switch. Like my mom taught me something early in life. You're either a faucet or a drain.
Dang.
My mom. And if I sense that you're a drain, I remove you immediately. Like, no, sometimes you don't even know what happened because you're like, hold on a second, what just happened? No, I just removed you.
Yeah, you do have those energy suckers.
You have time suck.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah. And whether you're receptive or non-receptive, everybody is receptive because our bodies, and you do a great job of this because you go surfing. So that's your way of just starting the day, setting the intention, setting a tone, whatever we need to do. I meditate. I tend to go on long walks. I tend to go within. I'm very introspective.
You like hiking or like?
Love hiking.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, and surrounding myself with people that add to my life.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, we're on this journey to either make an impact and create value. Mm-hmm. Okay. If we aren't doing either one of those, why are you even showing up? Right? Because we want to make a difference. And we in this business have an opportunity to impact their lives in a paramount way, whether it's their first home or their 15th home.
Exactly.
On every level. Right?
It is. And I think you mentioned it earlier. My whole master plan is just to educate people.
Yes.
Like every person I come in contact with, whether it's a homeowner that's refinancing, an investor that's looking for an after repair value on something, or a realtor that's saying, hey, I do a lot of teaching. Like I'll go into a real estate office, 40 people, and I spit out like, hey, this is ways you can maximize your listings or whatever it is. But it's like I don't never charge. It's just like, look, I'm here to educate you. And just spill. I'm just trying to give you everything that I know. And I tell even my I have a few guys I have a few guys that are like my trainees, and I tell them I'm here to pour into you 18 years of me figuring this shit out to you. So you're in the best position than anyone else because you get all of it, right?
That's insane.
Yeah, and it's like not just appraisal, but it's like the business side of it, the client relation. I'm giving you everything, and I'm not hiding anything from you. So if your cup isn't full, you're going to get a lot, you know? And so I believe that but what I was saying a minute ago, communication is huge. Mm-hmm. So I do this thing with my team every Monday. It's two things. It's lesson learned and weekly goal. That's the only thing we talk about.
Got to have them.
But it's 30 minutes. We get on the Zoom. Everyone's different location. I have some in Orange County, some in San Diego. We get on the Zoom. It's cool. We do it every Monday, unless it's like a holiday and I go, I piss off. Like we're not.
It's accountability too. Yeah. You got to keep them in that place.
It is.
It's so easy to just today. What am I doing today? Whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they thrive. And the feedback I've gotten is like, oh, we love this. Like at least I can see your face because we're all so busy doing different things. And what I figured is like it's a great learning experience because they get like the lesson learned. What did you learn this week? If you didn't learn something this week, there's a problem. Okay, First off, and I tell them, I go, you didn't learn anything? Like nothing. It doesn't have to do with appraising, just life, anything. And I'm like, you don't have any goals for this week. There's nothing you want to like do better on, like better communication with your wife or girlfriend. Nothing. There's nothing going on in your life. So those two things really corner everything.
Do you have a heartbeat? Do you have a pulse?
Yes, exactly. Like there's a problem. If you have nothing going on, like we need to talk. Like maybe you guys need to like switch teams or something. Yeah. But there's so much that go on, and sometimes we're like, oh, let's just. This morning I sent everyone a message saying I appreciate all you guys. Oh. And I just want to say, and I say, hey, like Mark is like my ops manager. He's hands down the best. I mean, we've started appraising together, and I was like, Mark is the best, and I just noticed the puppies. And then
the two little pit bulls in the making.
So cute.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to check in and we'll like keep each other accountable. So throughout the week, like, hey, you said you want to do this on Monday. Like, how's that going? And it's just like,
through,
God, how lucky am I? And, we go out, we just did an outing like last week where we all meet in Oceanside. Mm-hmm. Usually we'll take like
Oceanside. That's Alberto's hood.
Because we'll take the train to, try to erase our carbon footprint for the day, because I have Orange County and San Diego. So we're like, let's
good
just
halfway
Oceanside.
Point. Yeah.
And then we go out and, we go out for drinks and dinner. I take them out, just as a norm, like, hey, let's do that like every month, every other month. And
that's good team building too.
It is, because you really get to know people. I had one of my guys that got really emotional, and he's just like, oh, Sidney, like, you've changed my life, and then I started getting emotional. I was like, because you never think like you have an impact on someone's, in someone's life like that, and it's just, I don't know, it felt good. And I go, okay, we're on to something awesome here. Right. Yeah. So, and I know I've been ranting for a little bit, but what's so interesting is when I bring anyone into the business, like I have a one-on-one like conversation. And when they meet me for the first time, they're like, oh, this guy's like, their back is straight. And I'm like laid back, like, oh yeah, man. Like what's up? And it's so funny. And then, but I read this somewhere where I then take them to meet the team. Okay. And I see how they vibe, right? How they groove with the team. Yes. And then I ask all of them, like, so what do you think about this individual? And they're like, if they say no, then I'm like, even if I love them, I go, okay, cool. Because we all have to work together.
Okay, so I'm going to go on a tangent regarding that.
Yeah.
I'm like that with guys that I date. I bring them around my dogs. For all the animal people out there, and dogs especially. Dogs know when you're a bad person. So I'll go on like a first date. Right? Yeah. And then I'll be like, okay, whatever. Okay, so next day I'm going to bring the dogs. And I'll say, hey, let's go somewhere that's dog friendly. Their response is usually either one of two. What do you mean dog friendly? Right? And I'll just go, oh, okay, that's strike one, right? Yeah. Then they'll succumb to my request. And I'll go, okay, so we're going to go and do this. And the dogs are there. And if the dogs are just not digging this person, I'll never go out with them again.
How many strikes do they get?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Right? So, and I'll be like, okay, well, maybe my dogs were like hormonal that day.
Yeah.
And they just weren't vibing with this person.
Got you.
We'll give them a third try.
I love it.
So we'll do it. And then, we'll go somewhere and I'll go, okay, so I'm going to come over. We'll have a barbecue. I'm going to bring the dogs. And, if there's any sort of pushback, I'm like, fuck, this dude isn't even like dog friendly.
You wait for the pause.
And then if I bring him, the dogs are still barking. I'm like, you know what? You may think this is kind of weird, but my dogs don't like you.
Yeah.
And they've been here for a while, but they're going to probably be here longer than you. So
yeah, I love it.
But that's my story. That's kind of like how you are with your team, right? The team doesn't like them. Really, but not really, you guys.
Hey, dogs, you guys like this guy or gal? No? All right,
no, okay,
get out of here.
Let's go. See you later, right? But that's cool that you allow that opportunity because it's important that everybody have the same synergy, right?
Yeah.
You have to, especially in our business and in life, if you don't have everybody's accountable, and that's cool. That's what's cool about a team because we can get so lost if we don't have, and I'm kind of touch back on your mentorship and you provide it for free. That is so valuable, not only in life, but just because you are literally taking how blessed you've been and you continue to be, and you're sharing that knowledge, you're sharing that wealth per se with those who are either starting or who are kind of at a crossroads and they're not quite sure about what's happening, and you're sharing it. That goes back to my statement about unless you're adding value or creating an impact, then why are we doing what we're doing, right? So and in life and in this business, the money will always follow.
Oh, that's
because
easy.
you are doing and providing such amazing opportunities for people. And what I'm hearing is because of this, you were already thriving prior, but because of the last year and all the craziness that we've endured, you're thriving. You're taking what could have been a perceived like huge obstacle, and you're just like, no, I'm still going to go. I'm still going to do me. And how you do that, what allows you to do that is you check in with yourself, and you do these things that enrich your mindset and your opportunity. You surf, you surround yourself with good company. You're always learning. You're providing. You're altruistic. I used that previously, and that's so important. We as real estate agents. And in this business, we are perceived as being so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
We work our asses off. We make a great living. Now, whether it's a $3.6 million transaction or an $895 or even a $395 transaction, the workload is the same.
Absolutely.
Okay. So unless we work together, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Right. So it's for me, a lot of what you shared resonates with me heavily because when I go into a transaction, I always look to partner immediately and just say to the agent, hey, here's the deal. We're in this together. Right? We can't fight one another.
Yeah.
Right? So we as agents have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients.
Yeah.
And unless we can come to what's going to make this work and get to the finish line and not fight against one another, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
Right? And that just goes back to who you are as a person. Right? We can't fight this battle if we don't have our allies.
Yeah.
And you've done an amazing job really literally just turning around and just kicking ass. And I don't see it slowing down anytime soon
I hope
for
not,
you.
And I mean, it's funny you say that. I think we're vibing right now for real. Cause this is, I don't know if I do it. It's like, I do it selfishly, cause it's like, I'm a social butterfly. So I just want to be around people anyway.
Yeah.
But then again, you're right. It's like, I'm almost like, I'm going to give this information free. I want us to win together.
Yes.
So like, yes, I am impartial to all parties.
Yep.
But if I can get real estate agents to understand the methodology which I use or which all appraisers or how appraisers should be thinking when they're evaluating a property. And if I can share that with you, well, hopefully it makes my job easier. So maybe I'm just doing it selfish. Like, please help me make my job easier.
Okay.
But at least you have an understanding. So, and hopefully you can then educate your client to go, hey, look, we're going to get 100 offers, but look, value is here. And we can try to escalate that. But if we're going with someone who's going to get this finance, here are the numbers, based on, like guidelines, like here's where the market's at. Right. And I think, maybe I am somewhat doing it for myself as well. I mean, we all are, right?
Well, but there's power in that education, right?
Absolutely, and that's the thing. There's always power in education.
Because you said something pretty poignant, and I think a lot of this should resonate with agents. If it isn't, it should. It doesn't come in under value. It comes in at value.
Always. Based
on the market. Okay.
Always.
So, for example, when I did that pre-listing appraisal, and it came back at X, when it came to list it, they wanted to come in at X, which was not what it appraised at, of course. I said, okay, that's fine. However, we have this appraisal hanging out. It's here. It exists.
It exists.
And we can't deny it.
It's in the ether.
Okay. So we can't say that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So we can either take a chance and go over here, or we can get close enough to where and allow it to do what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Right. That educational opportunity that I was presented because of what you did and your work made them think twice about getting crazy about this so that they would at least get what they want,
of course,
and then some, and close.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, it appraised spot on. My asking price, it appraised spot on. And they looked at me and they go, thank you so much for educating us and for educating us about the fact that we should have done this pre-listing appraisal. I said, hey, Sidney did his job. It wasn't about, oh God, it's not worth this much.
Yeah.
He did his job.
Yeah.
His report substantiates why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
And I'm huge on that. So that educational part of what you provide for free, you guys, you have to check him out. South Shore Appraisals, growing, continues to grow. We talked everything today. We talked life. We talked the importance of how well you're doing, what you do to check in. And I can't stress this enough, you guys. We all have been through so much challenge just in life. But the last year, we've really dug deep to figure out who the F we are. Yeah. And we've had to realize some pretty painful realizations about ourselves, professionally and personally. If you don't know what to do in terms of anything that you're faced with, do a gut check. Check in with yourself. We all have emotional triggers. Yep. I can't stress enough the importance of mental health and checking in. And this is why I wanted to talk with Sidney, not just business, but because I have witnessed from afar how delicately you walk that line, but yet you succeed and nothing allows you to falter. Right? That's my vibe. That's my vibe. So check in with yourself is my point. Don't allow what seems to be challenges in life to make you backslide even more. Empower yourself with the fact that you were blessed and gifted with opportunities in your life for a reason. So we either pursue that and just stay laser focused, check in with ourselves, surround yourself with the right people, and you just forge ahead.
Wow, that's beautifully said.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you don't.
You know, I think we have so many like distractions in life. You know what
I call it static.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you have to just either get out in nature, maybe cut off social media for literally like 7 days. I mean, I've done it.
I love that.
I've done it for a year actually.
Yeah.
I've read more books. I thought I needed it to grow a business and all that stuff. And look, I grew my business without it. And I think it was a nice way to, when I got back on, like, oh, I know how to use it instead of just we all fall into the traps of like, oh, the next thing. Oh,
for sure.
I love it, right? I mean, there's scientists that have put this in place for a reason and I'm not going to be smarter than them. But I think when you fall into that, you know, kind of just monotony of just the same thing and you're like, what is going on? You have to separate it. You separate yourself from everything, right? And kind of, like you just said, kind of go back to the basics. Like, okay, who am I? What's my inspiration? Like, what is my drive? Like, you know, what is
purpose?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and I think to kind of erase all the noise is a great way to do that. And then come check us out.
So those are parting words right there. Erase, come back to the basics, remember what your purpose is, and forge ahead.
Yes. Yeah. And I just had this conversation with my team. Like, guys, I always say, stick to the basics. If you stick to the basics, like you will be in this, not only in this business for a long time and stay out of the hands of the governing bodies. Your work will always be like stand up. Like, if you start going one way and the other way, it's just
vacillating never works.
No.
Stay the course.
Stay the course.
Words of wisdom from Sidney. Say it again for me, last name.
I want you to say it.
God, dude, I'm going to butcher it. Loiseau.
Yeah, Loiseau.
And I won the spelling bee, yes. Yeah. It's a French last name.
I just saw the spelling bee yesterday.
Dude, congratulations to her.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh my God, and her aspirations are to be a WNBA basketball player.
Yeah, I know.
Good for that little girl.
My gosh.
But for today, I won the spelling bee.
Yes, you did.
I can't thank you enough. I know time is money, and you are a very, very busy man. You took the time out of your very packed schedule. Your calendar's all colors, no whites.
It is, no whites.
What a blessing you are. Keep plugging,
awesome,
keep plugging ahead. For all of your appraisal and any other real estate need, check them out. South Shore Appraisals. Give us all of your social media information. Anything that we could possibly like have somebody check you out. How can they get a hold of you?
You can go South Shore Appraisals on Instagram, Facebook. You can go Sidney Loiseau. You can find me on all the channels. Everything's online, guys. I'm easy to find.
Yep.
And yeah, we're here to help. We're here to educate, and we're here to promote your success through awesome valuation skills that we have.
Parting words, one last statement for anybody out there that might be at a crossroads.
Stay groovy, my friends.
That is my word, groovy. You guys, what a great Potter today. I'm so honored, so excited. And all of this fun was done today at Futures Pass in National City, one of the coolest cities in our vicinity.
It is.
It doesn't get enough credit. Like there's so much gentrification that's going on down here.
Awesome.
It's ridiculous.
The history in the city is
amazing,
awesome too.
amazing. So with that, you guys go out and make it a great day today. Impact someone's life. Be a faucet, not a drain. That's my mom. Mama Dean said that. She's cool. She looks like Sophia Loren. Let's give her props.
Love it.
I'm blessed and honored to be here today. I'm breathing. My feet hit the ground. And now we're going to go make people happy. You guys, fantastic day, San Diego. Peace out.
Ciao.